Hi guys, welcome back. This is Lynn with PFM Arts. Wanted to show you today in the series that I'm working on right now is how to create edges that stand out, that aren't the typical inking fashion like you would see on a vintage style journal or a grunge style journal. Because not all journals really call for that. I love the way it looks. I love that it gives definition, but sometimes it just doesn't go. Like with this one that I'm working on now that I'm taking you guys on this journey with me. This one is supposed to be kind of a modern farmhouse take, and the lady who commissioned me actually asked for some red to be in there as well, red plaid specifically. So when you think of modern farmhouse, I'm thinking about colors that look like this. And I'm thinking of black and whites and grays of like milk cans and cows. And I should have definitely showed you guys my photo that I found for inspiration. I can do that later. But anyway, but this style doesn't really say to me that defining edges by inking like we normally do, I don't think it will work out. So I've done this in a couple of other styles that I've made, such as my boho Dreamcatcher journal that I did recently. And I really liked the way that it turned out. So I figured I'd share with you. And I stopped the video last time so that I could go ahead and do this edge on here, because once again, you can do it afterwards, but it's very much easier if you do it beforehand. And this is a super simple technique. It is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but it is really easy. And I did want to show you that. So I've gone ahead and I've prepared another one of these folders, I suppose you'd call it, that I'm going to put inside this book. And I've gotten it to the part where now is the time for me to do some edging on the journal or on this particular page. And what I have is I have just a piece of scrap paper. Actually, this was a notebook that I bought somewhere, a note stack, note memo paper, whatever, it doesn't matter. And this is the back of it. And this is a piece of very thin cardboard, but I do like using the cardboard instead, or even just an index card instead of paper, because I feel like it gives me a better line. So what I want to do is, just like I did on this one, is just go around the edges. And you can definitely, I'll show you a different technique in a minute, but okay, let's just go ahead and go with this. All right, so this is how you do it, or this is how I do it anyway. So I know that I want this edge all the way here, but only up until where this fold line is, because I don't want it on the rest of the paper. So I'm going to, let me scoot up a little bit. I'm going to place my scrap paper, my junk paper underneath, because I'm definitely going to get it all over the place. And this is going to be my straight edge that I'm going to use the piece of cardboard. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take my marker that I got from the dollar store. You can use any marker that you like, but I really wanted to use gold on this one because I think it'll look nice. And I'm just going to come along here and I'm going to try to hold down the edge of the cardboard fairly solidly, just so it doesn't move. You'll end up with a little bit of leakage of the marker or the paint, the whatever you're using. It will end up going up underneath a little bit, but most of the time you can get I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you'll get a fairly straight line, which is pretty cool. All right. So, and that's all I do. I just come over here to the next edge that I want. I try to make it about the same, try to make it even. Parallel. Yep. Try to make it parallel to the actual outside of the paper. And I try to make it about the same size as the first line that I did. I have no idea what size that is. And again, I'm just eyeballing it. It's fine. You can do this more exactly if you want, but this is just the way that I do it. And I'll just go ahead and finish this the one side of the paper so I can show you how I do the edges, because that is super technical. And when I say it's super technical, it is definitely not technical at all whatsoever. And I haven't really figured out necessarily a good way to do it, but I'm also not upset about how it turns out. So I guess I haven't been really inspired enough to actually figure it out. Okay. And as you can see, I have marks all over this paper. All right. So I have all the straight edge done all the straight edges done on this one side of the paper. I just have to do the corners. And literally, guys, all I do is I just come in here and I just draw it in. That's it. I try to blend it a little bit and try to make sure that it's not, I think you can see that. It's still wet, so it looks kind of weird. Just blend it a little bit so there's no real edges from where I did one thing to the next. And that's it. Just try to make sure that it's about the same size and just make sure there's not any points. And again, I just did that so it's going to look wet as compared to the rest of it, but you can see where I just went in there and just sweep the marker around. Now, the other way that you can do this, and I will show you on one of these small papers that I have, this will show it nicely. You can, instead of going around and taking your marker, you can come in and just kind of roll your marker down the side to put that on. You could do the same thing with gilding paste or regular paint. Now, this is going to give you more of a less defined line. And I believe my camera's picking that up. Let me get a little bit closer. Come on, camera. There we go. It'll give you a little bit of less defined line and obviously not as thick, but it's another option, especially if you're only trying to give it just a little hint of something. But that's it, guys. Have a great day. Bye.